We have again reached maximum recording time, so we're starting where we left off. Um, so you just said Jimi Hendrix you like. All right, so in the rural South, was like, did people like the hippies, or were they like, oh
No,
man,
no, no, no. They were considered dirty, long haired, bad people. No, drug addicts. In where I grew up, the hippies were not, they were frowned upon.
right? Because I was gonna say like I know like I've even heard oh bikers there David Allen Coe, my long hair just doesn't come up my redneck or long haired redneck. I think that was his song.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it's from the '60s, but I know he's definitely talking
yeah.
about him. Huh? That's from the '70s. But yeah, I know that's definitely didn't like the hippies.
Yeah.
Would you, if you had the opportunity, would you go see a Jimi Hendrix concert?
In a heartbeat, yes,
Yeah, you liked him.
I did.
Did you have any of the stuff like CDs and stuff?
I have listened to Jimmy Hendrix, yes.
Hmm.
Also, Janis Joplin. I like the band too.
Was weed a very common thing when you were growing up?
It wasn't common, but if you went to a concert at UT Martin, where I eventually taught, you would see people light up what they called a joint, and it would go through about 30 people down the line, back and forth. So I'm not sure anybody actually really got high. It was just considered a thing to have one of the cigarettes to smoke. It was not common at all.
What was your drink of choice growing up? Well, I mean, what was
Beer,
it?
beer.
Beer.
Everybody got beer. They would take a can of beer out of their family's refrigerator because it wasn't as noticeable as taking a bottle of something out of a liquor cabinet.
What are your thoughts on American whiskey and bourbon and all that?
I think the best bourbon in the world is Kentucky bourbon, and Woodford Reserve Double Oaks is the best in the world. I think Jack Daniels sucks.
All right. Um, let's see. What are your thoughts on Lyndon B. Johnson?
Uh, well, he was a big guy, and he was very opinionated. He did do a lot for the civil rights movement. That was a plus for him. But what I remember, it's so funny, when they released his tapes from his office, there's this tape about the size of the crotch of his pants, and he made a big deal about resewing his pants, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah. Um, is there any other huge things that like happened that I just haven't talked about at all?
I think in the 60s, our work ethic was much stronger than it is now. There was no question you worked. You didn't go out and beg for stuff. You worked. You found a job somewhere, and it was the expectation that you worked, and you worked every day.
So let's say in the '60s, if you saw somebody that was homeless, was that like you
That
didn't
was rare. You just didn't see it.
you just didn't? All right, but let's say if you did see it, would it be likely that you'd give that person money?
No, I'd be likely to offer them a job on the farm picking cotton,
All right.
which they would turn down pretty quickly. Or the people I offered it to, I would offer work.
Now I know nowadays it's very common for people to like they just have vapes. That's what's popular now. But back then was did it, how many people smoked? What percent of people
Oh,
smoked
a lot of
cigarettes?
people smoked cigarettes, unfiltered, Lucky Strikes, those kinds. They didn't smoke as much, but they would smoke unfiltered cigarettes.
Did you ever smoke cigarettes?
I'm not a smoker. I'm not a
What
smoker.
about your parents?
My dad did.
Your dad
He
did.
smoked Camels, unfiltered. My mother wouldn't touch it. We didn't have vapes back then.
All right. So when you had my dad, 1965, you were 19, right?
Yes.
Was it is it a lot more common for people to get pregnant at the age of 19?
Oh, yeah, yeah. It was common to get married early and have children.
What's the earliest you ever saw somebody get married?
Uh, when I worked in the hospital, I was registered nurse. I had one young lady, 12 years old, that had a baby,
What
but she was not married. She
was
was
it?
12, soon to be 13.
Damn.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Damn.
Yeah, that was a bad situation.
Well, was the father at least part of that, or he's
No,
dead?
no.
He's just Damn.
I'm not sure what happened to him. But it was not unusual to graduate high school and get married, or drop out in the 10th or 11th grade, get married, and have children
Hmm.
at younger ages. And because you were needed to work the farms and to help make a living.
Farm life.
Farm life.
How'd you meet Grandpa Ed?
I met Grandpa Ed through a friend that knew him, and we just sort of hit it off and started talking. And
Would you say he was more charismatic or he was a
He
handsome
was.
lad?
I say he was charismatic. He had a
Charismatic.
nice car and a good job.
What was his job?
He worked construction.
Oh
Rubber
yeah, he has all
bulldozer.
that. He has all
Yeah.
that stuff. He still has that stuff.
Mhm.
I remember that.
Hmm.
Was he good looking or no?
Yeah, he was a nice looking guy.
He's nice. What'd you think when you first had my dad in '65?
What did I think?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I've got this baby that I'm responsible for. That's what I thought. So I have to live up to being a good mother and making sure he's educated.